Hello YouTubers, time for another video. I meant to do some sort of record store day video, but I didn't take part of this year's record store day because I wasn't out there hunting records at the very day as I sometimes or some years have done, not that often though. But the weeks after that I've been picking up some of the titles that I was interested in. So I'm going to show them to you in this video, but also some other nice titles that I bought recently and that I've been listening to. But I think let's start with the record store day titles. I've been focusing mainly on Swedish record store day titles this time. So let's see here. To be quiet, I bought 6 titles, and only one is not Swedish, and we're going to start with that one. It's the Alan Toussaint collection, a very nice double album. Well, with 3 sides actually. The fourth side there's nothing recorded on that. It's just like an etching there. So this is I think this is a reissue of a CD compilation that was issued in the early 90s and with some of his best material from the 1970s mainly. Very good. Alan Toussaint is always right. Okay, Swedish titles then. Well, we have the Swedish singer, amazing singer Freddie Wadling, who passed away last year. Some of his older albums are now getting issued on vinyl for Record Store Day. Last year it was Skivor till kaffet, and this year it is Jag är monstret, I'm the monster, from 2005. And Freddie Wadling is always magnificent, even the times when he maybe isn't that really interested in the project of this album. But in this one I have to say he's brilliant. Very good album and lovely cover too. It works really extra fine as a vinyl album, although this was mainly issued as a CD back then. Or mainly, I think, just issued as a CD. Okay, over to something that was issued as a vinyl record back then, but it sold quite poorly, or it must have sold rather poorly because it's very difficult to get hold of today. It is the solo debut, first album of future ABBA star Anne-Frid Lindstad from 1971. Look at the colors, wonderful colors. And this is now reissue of the Parlophone label. I guess it's all about Universal though, or Warner Music. Yeah, Warner Music. But the original issue was on the EMI Columbia label, but I guess that label isn't used anymore, so this reissue is on Parlophone. And what can we say about this? Well, it's produced by her then husband and future ABBA star Benny Andersson. It's very soft, it's very beautiful, good lyrics, good choice of material. We have Swedish versions of Suzanne by Leonard Cohen, Sounds of Silence by Paul Simon, I don't know, what's it called, from Jesus Christ Superstar, I Don't Know How to Love Him, is that right? I think so. And some original material too. The year after she had a big hit in Sweden with a song called Min egen stad, and then that track was added to this album, so I think it's more common that you find the album that adds the track Min egen stad. But this is not on this reissue though, which is a bit surprising actually. Okay, we go on with ABBA. We have a reissue of Agneta Fältskog's third album, Som jag är, from 1970. It is quite amazing. She was 20 years old at this time, and this was already her third album, and a very good album it is, although it is obvious that she is less focusing on her own songs. She's doing more songs of other artists with lyrics by professional lyricists, but the songs that I think the biggest hit of this song is her own Om tårar vore guld, and she's written that. So yeah, nice, because these are very difficult and expensive to find in the original, because so many Japanese ABBA collectors out there. I don't know, just Japanese from all over the world. But, oh yeah. Then we have a reissue of the Swedish Pro Group, Arbete och Fritid. Arbete och Fritids andra LP, their second LP. This is numbered, 500 copies, issued on Universal, but it's on the Sonnet label. And yeah, they mixed like prog rock with folk music in a very nice way, and I've got some of their records in original pressings, but I didn't have this one, so I thought it was a good idea to buy it. It wasn't that difficult. It wasn't that expensive either. And then my final record store day purchase is from the Swedish prog pop rock group with Cactus, Las Vega. Today mostly known for the fact that their lead singer would later in the 1990s become one of the most famous John Lennon impersonators, and he was also the singer of a 60s beat group called 14. I haven't really listened to Vild Cactus, so I thought this was a good opportunity. I like it, I have to say I like it, and it's on clear vinyl too. Yeah, that's that. Alright, let's have a look at the other purchases. First of all, we have a Dutch music on vinyl issue by Blues Dimension. This is a numbered limited edition on white vinyl that I bought in Solna. And I listened to it today, and I have to say, really, really good music. You can feel that it has this Dutch feeling, that there are some connections with both classical music and prog music, and some bit jazz and blues at the same time. I like the mix. I have to say, I'm very rarely disappointed with Dutch records. I have a great love for Dutch rock and prog and so on. Sorry, it doesn't like me hitting on the nose. Yeah, oh yeah, one of my big house gods. Canadian star, Canadian great, superb singer and songwriter Ron Sexsmith has just issued a new album, The Last Rider, and what's so special about this? Well, he's for once he's joining his touring band, or his touring band is joining him on the actual recording, and I have to say I've always loved Ron Sexsmith, although I felt sometimes with the last albums that maybe something new, something, I don't know, something is really missing. I think he's back in good form here. It's his old style, nothing really has changed, but the songs are really delicate and closer to the early days. I read somewhere that he's talked about this being his last album, and then he will not be working with music that much more in the near future. I hope that's not the truth, because we really need good songsmiths like Ron Sexsmith, and I think you agree with that. So, great album though, on some double vinyl. Yeah, then I'm going to show you two albums at once, because it's more or less the same album. We had a Swedish singer and songwriter here in Sweden for many years. He was very popular in the singer-songwriter country style. He was called Alf Robertson, and today he's mainly viewed as a interpreter of songs by like Tom T. Hall and so on. Many of his big hits were Tom T. Hall songs in original, but he also had a great opportunity in the mid-70s to go to Nashville and record together with some of the greatest country and western musicians back in Nashville, like the piano player Pig Robbins, bass player Bob Moore, drummer DJ Fontana. yeah, and like steel guitar players like Curly Chalker, Lloyd Green, harmonica player Charlie McCoy, and so on. So, and the result was really, really good. And he issued it both in a Swedish version and in a English version, because with the same backgrounds, but with Swedish lyrics on one album and English lyrics on the other. And this is the Swedish one. This has recently been reissued, actually, so this is quite easy to get hold of today. And this is the English one, Alf Robertson in Nashville and Alf Robertson I Nashville. So I'm not a die-hard Alf Robertson fan, but I have to say that I like many of his lyrics, many of his stories. He's a great storyteller, although he sometimes made the mistake of claiming that, oh yeah, I wrote that. That idea is totally mine. But of course it was really by Tom T. Hall. But okay, never mind. Alf Robertson, great albums. Okay, over to some 60s English. Let's to move around some records here. So yeah, go to some English 60s beat or pop music. First, The Shadows. It's their first album. It's a second pressing from the mid-60s, although the first pressing was from 1961. The recordings are from then. It's on the black Columbia label with the blue Columbia, black and blue there. It's not in perfect condition, but it's good. And I have to say, the sound quality, the recording technique is amazingly good. Despite, I mean, was 56 years ago, and it has this really good sound, and of course the guitar playing by Hank Marvin, amazing. So I don't have that many of these old original Shadows albums, but I'm trying to get hold of more. This was great. Then we had Dave Clark 5 In Session. This is my second album with them. Before I only have some sort of compilation album. This is a reissue. It's on the Regal label. I think the original was issued in '64. This is from '66. Great beat, of course. I mean, the '60s in England wasn't just Rolling Stones and Beatles. There were many great groups who created great pop music back then, and Dave Clark 5 is one of those bands. Oh, I've been talking for 30 minutes. Let's speed this up, okay? This is another band that I like a lot, The Equals, with a very young Eddie Grant. This is the album Supreme. It was actually issued on the President label, but they've been pasting over with these stateside, both on the sleeve and on the label and on the back of the sleeve. Don't know why, but I guess it has something to do with rights or copyright and so on. Anyway, it is a great album. You could almost think that it might have been recorded in the United States, because it has a very American soul-like feeling. And of course, Eddie Grant was a great, superb singer even back then. So I'm going to hunt for more records by The Equals as well. Okay, I'm not sure how famous the Red Squares are, for those of you out there, because from what I've understood, they had their main success in Denmark. Tell me if I'm wrong here, because everywhere where I'm trying to find information about it, it's been they were English, but they had their big success in Denmark. We have had Swedish group that were, or English group that came to Sweden, and it was almost like the same with them. Like the Phantoms, I think, had more success in Sweden than in England. But of course, in England there were loads of bands, so it's easy to disappear in the big crowd of beat bands. So Red Square came to Denmark, and they have a good album here with, well, mainly cover versions like Ragdoll, Stay by what's it called? Morris Williams. Theme from a Summer Place, I Get Around by Brian Wilson, Dancing in the Street, so Big Girls Don't Cry, and so on. But they were quite popular in Denmark, and I think in Sweden too, because you tend to see this record now and then here. And now I bought it too. Right. 15 minutes, oh my goodness. Okay. Oh, another one with British beat. It's Hermans Hermit, Blaze. I think Hermans Hermits were great, not really among the really top groups, but they had some very nice, pleasant 60s pop records, and this is one of them. It is on Columbia, and I think it's from 1968. Can that be right? So I think that's a rather late Hermans Hermits, but so there's some water damage to this. Well, it's not that good, but the music is fine and the record is okay. Okay. Reissue of some American 60s soul. Eddie Floyd, Knock on Wood. This is a new reissue, so great record. It's a music on vinyl reissue. So we know many of the tracks on this, of course. Knock on Wood, Woman Tender Love, High Heel Sneakers. This was from 1967, and but this is, as I said, new press. So, and then finally 2 records by Johnny Cash. First of all, a new pressing of Now There Was a Song, Memories from the Past, on the Wax Time label. I'm not very familiar with the Wax Time label, but this is issued on that. It was a Columbia record from originally. And then this British Johnny Cash compilation, Old Golden Throat, from the late 60s, I think. It is a British issue though. And yeah, that's about it for this time, and play a record today, and remember to not let fear stop you singing your songs or playing your records. Never stop singing. Bye bye.